friends, I believe we are live.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to session 26 of The Space Between. We're going to start off with a recap from last time by Zeke.
Ah. So Zeke's recap is pretty bland. Not gonna lie. It's he has no idea what's happening. Everyone just started speaking in Japanese. Cherry's dad seemed to like whatever was said and enjoyed meeting TC3. We also met Daisuke, Cherry's brother, and it was entertaining to see Ava flirt with him. Then I decided to sample all of their wagyu, thoroughly documented that experience, and once we left, Toshi took us to Starlight Tower. Instead, we stopped for boba and snacks, and things escalated. I guess we landed on Bo not joining us.
All right. Very short and sweet and to the point. I guess most of Zeke's writing for the day went into the the Wagyu review.
Might have been a bit ambitious to take a recap last week. The saddle is not like riding a bike.
It's all good. You hit the highlights. Yeah, so things got a little bit spicy between Bo and particularly Cherry, but it that also included the chauffeur Toshi and also Cherry's dad.
I would prefer the euphemism heated, not spicy. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Heated. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like
Dex
yeah.
knows.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah. Words change in the common vernacular, and I was rolling with it.
We just don't want anyone thinking that you're
Yeah.
putting cinnamon in Ethan's hair.
True. That would be rude of me.
Because that's what spicy
Far be
means
it
to
from
me.
Oh no. All right, 10 points from Gryffindor.
Oh my.
But anyway.
I actually am drinking a Dutch Bros drink with cinnamon's like drizzle, they call it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a shot of cinnamon in my drink.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty then. On that note, the party decided to exempt Bo from needing to attend the upcoming meeting, and so he was dropped off at the ship, and then everybody else proceeded on to Starlight Tower.
That sounds like corporate speak.
Absolutely.
We've decided to exempt you from the burden of going to Starlight Tower.
Euphemisms abound. Yes. We're deciding not to pick up your option. We're going in a new direction.
No.
Services are no longer required. Oh man. Anyway, so how's the car ride going to Starlight Tower now? Has Cherry rejoined the group, or is she still in the front seat with Toshi?
I don't think Cherry would know how to gracefully rejoin the group after that, so she would stay in the front seat unless asked to do otherwise. So
Okay.
What kind of music is she playing?
Music.
they're listening to Toshi's music.
Yeah, it's some soft soft jazz with no vocals. Not quite elevator music, but close.
Wait, is there jazz with vocals?
Yes.
No, that's not
Yeah.
jazz.
Yes. Not true.
Wow. Dex with all the hot takes tonight. They
Well,
spicy takes.
I was gonna say.
Oh, dear.
Cinnamon drizzled takes.
Oh man.
It's not just cinnamon in your
Mm.
drink.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I was gonna say, I think that Tashi would be talking with Cherry, trying to talk her down from her experience with Bo. He would be encouraging her to go sit with everyone else and just kind of smooth things over and reset the mood. But it's up to her.
How about you roll for me? And just a 50-50, like, if it's even, she stays up. Well, if it's even, she goes and sits with her crew, and if it's odd, she's gonna continue having alone time.
Okay. It is even.
Okay. She will finally, with a deep sigh, say, "Okay, okay, I'll go make peace." And he was reminded of similar situations in middle school that Tashi talked her through.
Before she makes it
And
into the back
Very good,
seat,
Miss Urumi.
do we find the champagne cooler?
Yes. Yeah, it was being sampled somewhat at the end of last session. There is more left. Is Zeke doing something with it?
Yeah, definitely.
He is sampling heavily. All right. Mhm. Okay, I thought I talked over somebody. All right, so Cherry hops back in. Does she have anything to say? Anybody greet her? Do we want to hand wave this and move on?
I'm up for hand waving.
Pete would wave, but hand wave is fine.
What else would he wave with? Obviously, hand waving. No foot waving here. Only hand waving.
I do though love the mental image of Cherry, climbing back into the back of the limo grav car, and Pete just kind of waving a hand from like 2 feet away.
It's his version of a nod.
I like it.
I think Eva just kind of carries on like nothing happened.
What was she in the middle of talking about?
That is a really good question. What was
Please
she
tell me
in the
you have
middle
a
of
random table for this. You need a random table for topics that Eva would be discussing.
Well,
Just
let
add
me,
on to it as we go.
let me see if ChatGPT can answer a question. Let's see,
Oh
give,
my.
give me a good topic for a know-it-all.
What about Wagyu steak?
Oh, this is way too on the nose. That's not bad because it has come up, but a fascinating topic for a know-it-all could be the future of artificial intelligence and its ethical implications. That's literally what ChatGPT just gave me.
That is beautiful.
Becoming self-aware.
She's like, what would really diffuse the tension in this car is talking about all the philosophical implications of AI and their theoretical sentience compared to humanity and blah, so on and so forth.
Okay, I said try another, and this one is actually much better and relates to the scene. The
Uh-oh.
There you go.
interconnectedness of global economies and the impact of trade policies.
There you go.
We were just talking about Fenmo, however it said. Phyllis is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
is there some global politics acronym that I just have no idea about?
Nope. We were just talking about Phyllis though, and things there, and I think Eva, after Bo left, has just kind of continued talking about things that she doesn't really know a whole lot about, but she's read a couple things, and so she knows everything.
Say there are a lot of big words and a lot of buzzwords, and it could make sense to somebody who is listening closely and knows stuff about this.
Such as TC3.
He's
Yeah,
probably who she's bouncing off of, unless Pete or Zeke would get in on it.
Oh no! If Pete was a person still, if he was human still, his eyes would be completely glazed over.
I mean, I think Zeke's gonna just pop the champagne bottle and offer Cherry a glass.
She would look at him with a face of gratitude and
Be a minute.
accept it, having already downed her boba tea.
We're just staring at Ava as she tells us about finance.
She's touching on the war, the ceased war in Urala, of course, and Tabuk's expansionist efforts, and Hervario's short-lived expansion, short-lived but successful expansion. Yeah.
While she's talking about that, or talking about that at them, or at TC3, Cherry would sigh, and from sitting next to Zeke, she would lean over and say, "If we pull this off, I've got a better stash than this that I'm willing to share with you."
Noted.
Yeah, TC3 is seems very happy to engage with Eva on the topic.
Oh man.
And
new best friend. Sorry, Pete.
yeah, Sarah Lloyd it seems like she's kind of listening, but she's making the one too many of the active listening cues. It's and a close observer would notice that her eyes are slightly glazing over.
So then Eva doesn't notice.
Right.
So when we get to, Cherry would kind of lean forward after being about halfway through her sipping on her champagne, and she would clear her throat and say, "Captain, I have a question for you."
Captain, that's me. Yes, yes.
That would evoke a little bit of just the barest hint of a smile from Cherry, and she would say, "When we get to Starlight Tower, do you want to do the talking, or do you want me to do the talking?"
Oh. Why don't you start?
Sounds great. And she'll sit back and look very pleased with that answer.
Mm-hmm. Eva obviously mulling over her own answer in her head after she's given it, but she, after a moment, also kind of sits back and seems content with how that turned out. Or at least accepting of how it turned out.
Hmm. All right. Let's see. Okay then. So you guys are pulling up, and so as you approach the center of the city, the Starlight Tower is one of three that are kind of arranged in a close triangle in the very center of the city. They are the tallest structures by a decent margin, although there are other plenty tall skyscrapers clustered around the center as well. These top all of them by another 10 stories at least.
Hmm.
And traffic gets a little bit heavier, both foot traffic moving on various walkways. There are lots of exterior walkways that are extending between the buildings and wrapping around the outsides. You're connecting various places, and quite a bit of grav car traffic as well as people bustle around the much more densely packed downtown of Loinuda. And so as Tashi maneuvers through this traffic, ascending not all the way to the highest floors of the tower, but a good 2/3 up, he pulls alongside another balcony disembarking spot for grav car passengers, and says, "This should be the correct place, the closest drop off to your meeting room. Good luck to all of you, and especially you, Miss Arumi." And I'm gonna let you out.
Okay. Oh, exit the vehicle and look around.
Yeah, so there are um, there are a few people, hurrying, looking very purposeful, like they have business to attend to. One of them talking mile a minute to someone in their ear, and you catch snippets about you know filming deadlines and editing getting held up, someone's sick, and not wanting to disappoint. Debut is coming in a week. Yada yada, blah, on and on, and their eyes are darting back and forth across their little visor as they go, just narrowly missing Eva as she's getting out of the grav car, and then doesn't seem to even notice, but just goes in through a door, passing a security guard. And on the coming out the same door is eager looking man with a data slab and looking across your different faces, seems to identify Cherry, and yeah, greets her with an excited excited tone. Ah, Miss Harumi, you're here. Okay, you had a request for a meeting. You are a little bit early, but we can get you situated and you can get comfortable while you wait. All right, you have everybody with you, it looks like, and I assume he glances at TC3 and back at her. Danielle.
She appears to be muted.
Sorry, I had my microphone muted because I was moving around doing stuff to clean. She would greet him warmly and say, "Oh yes, yeah, this is and then she would look at him for a second and
Eva whispers
would
over to her, Tyson.
what?
Eva whispers over to her, Tyson.
She would
She does not have to
face
use that.
palm
Just have to say.
a little bit and introduce him as Orion, actually.
Oh, as Orion? Okay,
Yeah, so she yeah.
Eva kind of looks, that's so much better.
Okay. Oh, right. Mr. Orion then. Yeah, well, it seemed like it was a kind of important meeting. So yeah, Mr. Castro will be ready in a bit. Um, yeah, oh oh boy, I need to call him. Yeah, but please, right this way. Follow me. And turns around
Carrie
still.
would look at TC3 to see his reaction to that moniker.
Yeah, he looks back at her and says, "So you have chosen a name for me."
Yep. It took a little while, but I hope that one's okay.
I will try it on for now. I
Of
do
course,
think I
yeah.
like it for.
If it doesn't fit, you can always change it.
It is. Yes, we'll see how it filters through my processors.
She'll nod and then yeah, head towards the door where they were directed to.
All right, so follow, and he's hurrying the doors, and he'll hold it open. You do seem to think you recognize the guy. You think he's Mr. Castor's aide, um, or one of them, the one that you interacted with in your interview before. Uh, and he's gesturing you through the doors, and there's like a little security checkpoint for you all to pass, and it just consists of a a standing little kind of frame that for you to walk through, and there are a couple of guards flanking it, and one watching a screen, and they just usher you on through one at a time. Now, as I recall, none of you has any weapons on you, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Eva does not.
Just left and right.
um, yeah, because actually I realized, Avery, I think we addressed that before you came back. I think everybody had left weapons on the ship, having been told, yeah, you can't either open or concealed carry on the Nodal without very special permission. I think Bo was the only one who ignored that suggestion. That was in reality much more than a suggestion. But yeah, you all pass no issue, and you are then being led down a hallway, up a couple floors in a lift, and eventually to a meeting room. Along the way, you pass quite a number of people, including a lot of people in various costumes. Some, and you've passed one large studio that seems like they're recording some kind of scene, like a reality show. There's some dramatic arguing going on, and lots of crying as well. But through all the bustle, you are deposited in a meeting room and told that Mr. Castro will be along in just a few minutes. And it's not a particularly well, like, fancily decorated room. It's pretty standard. Nice furniture, comfortable chairs, but it's kind of mostly a bunch of chairs around a long, sleek table. Little minimal decoration to liven it up, and a large screen at one end. Well, the door's shut, and you were left to your own devices for a little bit. And I think, in the meantime, we'll pop over to Bo's perspective, where I believe we pick him up getting a call on his compad. What's the scene around Bo look like? What's he up to when he gets this call?
Okay. Yeah, I guess he had kind of, I guess, basically like sulked the rest of the ride back to the ship. And then once he's safely alone in the ship and sees them pull away, he, basically like flies into a rage, shouting at no one in particular. Stupid Luhano da, stupid Cherry's family, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess on a level that he couldn't process, recognizing that being back here has brought a lot of difficult feelings closer to the surface than he would like them to be, and that thinking about those things, he feels like he'd drown in all those feelings, so turn to the easier one, which is to be angry at everyone and everything around him.
Hmm. Got you. All right. Um, so yeah, and he had paused at least briefly in all this to send a response to the initial message he got, but after a few more minutes, he does get this call. And it's from a familiar number.
Okay, so mid, yeah, angry yelling and throwing his knife at the dartboard. He'll, I guess, leave it kind of shaking there as he's sunk it into the board again and pick up his compad.
Hmm. It's Mr. Yamamoto.
Hey, Talk, you on your way over here?
Oh, so good to hear from you. Wow, it's been so long, and I'm glad you're interested in making a little bit more money. I think I have a fun little project for you. I am not, unfortunately, on my way. I'm rather busy. I have a meeting with some water board, some nonsense about needing repairs to some of the infrastructure under Sector 4's, yeah, housing blocks. I've got to check my notes, but anyway, let's talk about you. I'm sorry to say, I don't know that this will be your best idea of fun, but I think it'll cheer you up all the same. Nobody to murder, sadly. uh, but his voice lowers a little bit, kind of takes on a conspiratorial tone. Said, they've appointed a new director of housing distribution for Sector 5 right next door. And I hear there is some juicy stuff going on. No confirmation on any of it. But here's the deal. I think this could be fun, and we could get a little something, valuable at the same time. One of my associates, Miss Fang, she's on her way over. Sorry, it's not going to be as fancy an appointment as before, but she's got a little something for you to deliver to this director of housing distribution and all that. He's going to make a speech this evening in front of lots of cameras, big important stuff. And I want you to do something to absolutely embarrass him in front of everyone. I've got a couple ideas, might float by you, but, you could also get a little creative, just, make him look like a klutz or something, he's older man, But under cover of all that, I want you to bug him. I need to get something inside his office, and, well, he keeps the place under pretty close guard, but himself, not quite so much. So what do you say?
Oh, to make old Stiff in a suit squirm? That sounds close enough up my alley.
All right. Well, now I'll leave it up to you about the particulars, of course, but I was thinking something flashy, like maybe, wardrobe malfunction or a trip and fall. Nothing too dangerous, but just something to make him look silly, or a little spill on his favorite suit.
I reckon I could pull off something like that.
My man, my man. Bo, it's so good to have you back, and of course I'll remind you, if you do get caught, we can pop you out. Just remember to refrain from any of your, well, more favorite methods. I need to go making it difficult to bust you out. Just, if you get caught, comply, and bide your time. I'll be there soon enough.
Oh, you know me, Talk. I always paint inside the lines.
Yes, of course. Oh, good one, Bo. Well, I do need to go. I really must figure out what this meeting is about, and I'll be in touch. Good luck.
Oh, better you than me going talking about some waterboard.
No, you're telling me. Well, thank you so much. You're doing me such a big favor, Bo, and of course, besides the payment, a little visit to one of my establishments with some of the usual entertainment is also, of course, on the menu. Who doesn't like to have a nice evening, a good party, and great music?
Oh, that'd be good. A little time to unwind. Yeah. Who knows? I might be playing it side a little longer than I was thinking.
That's what I hoped I'd hear. You know, I know you can't ever turn down drinks on the house. Well, toodaloo, Bo. Get 'em
I'll
good.
see you later, Doc. Yeah, I'll report back to you. Sure, although you'll probably be catching them on all the vids soon enough.
That's what I like to hear. Goodbye. He hangs up. All right.
Yeah, he's talked to himself. Not quite what I was looking for, but I guess that'll tide me over.
So, yeah, I'll leave you to think a little bit on that. I'm not gonna. We're probably. Let's see, what are we looking at? Okay. Yeah, so when he said one of his associates, and from the wording you could tell he might be kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as who he sent out to fetch you. He's got a decent number of contacts in a couple different levels of society here on Lainuda, but um, he is still a relatively minor, uh, as Bo would categorize him anyway, a low-level mob boss. And so you're probably not getting a whole lot of help besides ride to the to the location that the speech is going to be given at, and it sounded kind of like a press conference sort of thing. And of course, the listening device that you're supposed to bug the guy with. But yeah, otherwise he left it fairly open-ended for you. So if you want to think of anything, you can message it to me. And I think meanwhile we will. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the introduce the other thing and get you in transit. Yeah, there's a. Yeah, there's a. Comes like a little beep, kind of honk from outside the ship. Some little bit later, and Bokachek comes to see a pretty bare bones, almost like utility grav car. It's waiting outside, and it's a woman in some kind of like utility vest and work gear for something industrial.
Okay, and yeah, I think in the interim, Bo, I guess, like you said before, he has stayed mostly packed and ready to go
Mm-hmm.
at any time, but I think kind of between the last couple of missions, he'd start making some slight concessions of like, well, I'll leave that out of my backpack, kind of thing. But had basically gone and thrown his few remaining things that weren't already on his person back into his backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And then meets her out in the truck.
Okay. She says, "Hello there, Bo. I guess I'm Duty." Sticks her hand out. You can just call me Fang if you want. Most do.
Oh, good to meet you, Fang.
Yeah, hop in. Gotta be quick and got a place to be, but yeah. She revs it up and scoots off along the track. Yeah, when Mr. Yamamoto calls in a favor, yeah, I can't say no.
I don't know how that is. I appreciate you giving me a ride. You think you'd be able to stop anywhere on the way? I'm needing to pick up a meta tool. Maybe some other supplies for what Takahara has in mind.
Pick up. She rolls her eyes. He picked you for this job, and you don't even have a meta tool.
I left it in my other pair of blue jeans.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, she glances and kind of looks you up and down as she's zipping along at a bit faster speed than Tashi had been driving. Well, how about this? If promise to give it back when you're done, you can borrow mine, but I don't have time to make an extra stop. I'm sure I've got a spare one that you can use. Just don't go breaking it or losing it.
I'll treat it like it was my own. Just to give you some peace of mind, he'll slip her the equivalent credits for a meta tool. You can hold on to that until I get it back to you in just as good a condition or better.
She raised an eyebrow at those. Well, okay. She palms them and does a, is very quickly counts them. Uh, okay. And a strange expression crosses her face. She goes quiet for a minute. Seems to be thinking. And she's zipping along. She's taking a much lower track than what you guys had ridden before. In fact, for a good little stretch, actually dips down underground and goes through some tunnels below, and get a little glimpse of quite a busy bit of traffic and infrastructure that seems to be going on underground. Lots of large industrial-looking vehicles, lots of cargo being carted around. Several points you have to stop to allow some, heavy cargo loaders to pass across the track, and then able to continue on. There's some places where there's enough clearance for the gravitar to just kind of zip over above all the hullabaloo, but
Yeah, Bo will look out the window and say, this is more like it. That's the Lohanuda I remember.
yeah, well, feast your eyes.
Trust me. Earlier today, there's worse sights you can see.
Oh, I'm sure. Doesn't mean just about everything else would be better.
You remember this, Fang. Just because it's gilding don't mean it's rotted or not rotten on the inside.
Well, believe you me, I'm well aware. Say, what got you in with Yamamoto anyway?
He's a good guy. I was out this way looking for work. He helped me find some jobs that fit particular skill sets, persuasions. So.
Well, okay. She looks at you a little differently now. Figured well, guess he's been running a little dry on those lately. Because you're some other poor schmuck that gambled a little too much, a little too deep in the drink. How it tends to go. Well,
I don't turn down a drink when it's offered to me, but nah, nobody would twist my arm to get me over here or to get me started working with them.
Okay, well, good for you, I guess. Just, watch yourself. I don't know how long you've worked for him, but he's a slimy one.
I hold all rattlesnakes at a appreciative distance. You ever get too comfortable with them, that's when they come back and bite you in the nuts. That's what I always say. At least that's what my pa always said.
Well, I can't imagine that'd be any fun. All right.
Not
She
me
takes
sensing deep familial trauma from Bo's father. Bo's origin story.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even know if we had rattlesnakes where we came from. I'll sit and ponder
Yes,
that
it's
one.
not. Yeah, that'd be something to see. Never seen one of those. No, I mean, not for real.
Yeah, I guess not too many of them live critters on Lohainu. Gotta make do
No.
with them nature documentaries.
Yeah, well, those are okay. I prefer the westerns myself.
Well, sound like we do have something in common. I did always enjoy me a couple of them westerns.
Yeah, well, Nash has got some pretty good series. I'll check some of them out.
See, would he know who this Nash is or what Nash is?
It's a good question. It if he watches if he's gotten exposed to any media, watched movies or anything, that might be the if that's the genre he gravitated to, he almost certainly would have seen one at least.
Okay, so that's actor or yeah. I
Yeah.
fear he would have
So
watched a decent number of westerns, especially since he did. Or I guess anytime the money ran dry, he went and found cheaper, free forms of entertainment.
mhm,
And hard to beat sitting home watching TV as a
yeah.
cheap form of entertainment.
Yeah. So yeah, she would say she said, now, while I do like some of his more popular stuff, I gotta admit, she gets a big grin. I really love the slapstick ones. Uh, You see any of those?
Hmm. I feel like
What was the
Bo was
days
not
of
a
the?
slapstick Western person. So I gotta admit, I tend to turn them off. I think my favorite one was, I guess, them real old ones. Found a couple of them at a library one time. Watched this fella back from Terra by the name of Clint Eastwood, something like that.
Oh, that is old. Goodness. Well, I will say Nash does some very good classic western.
Yeah, I enjoyed his. He had that good old Murder at the High Saddle Corral. Like that one.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
Old Dog at Midnight. That's another good one.
Okay. The what dog at midnight?
Old Dog at Midnight. He had some other fella in that one. I think that was early in his career. Playing the old young deputy to one of them other fellas at the tail end of his career, getting to be the grizzled old sheriff.
See, wow. Yeah, she seems to be slightly interested, but not as interested as when she was talking about
Yeah, so she's
Ashes
like,
specials.
oh, I'm not thinking of his name. Oh, Barney, wife and his kind of westerns.
Yeah, she ends up recommending to you that she realizes you may not like these, but Whoops a Daisy, The Great Goat Rodeo 3 was peak Western comedy and one of her favorite Nash specials.
Well, maybe I'll have to give them another try.
But yeah, I don't know as much about that old stuff. Well, you know how it is. Always something new here. Got to keep up. And
Oh yeah. Well, I had some
faint
catching up to
bitterness.
do on the classics.
Yeah, faint bit of bitterness enters her voice again. Yeah, well, I only have so much time, and yeah, that's what I do have. I stick to what I like. But anyway, I'm getting close, and she checks her map and comes up, finds a surface access, and comes on up and starts explaining to you the layout. I'm not going to get really detailed or technical about the whole layout of the area. Uh, it looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's kind of a little public area, a little podium that's already been set up. There are a couple of people kind of hanging out on their compads, but it still isn't anywhere close to time for it to start. She gives you plenty of time to case the area, find a good place to be close enough that you can kind of wander over and then dart up and get the guy. And in the confusion, you know, slip the plug on. She does show you it's this teeny tiny little thing. It's got uh around it. It's got kind of an adhesive pad that's transparent that'll kind of meld in and hold on into the fabric of wherever you put it on the guy. And she also slipped you the meta tool, having pocketed the credits, and she does say, for that much you could just keep it. Wouldn't mind. Just didn't want to give you one.
Well, know how these things get sentimental about them. I'll make sure I'll get it back to you.
Oh no, don't worry about sentimental value. I mean, you don't want to buy it, but I'm not attached like that. Just didn't want to go missing.
Yeah, I understand how that is. I'll always try to do right by a working woman or man. Everybody's just trying to make their way in the world.
True. She seems to be kind of almost holding her breath, waiting for what you say. So, is it gonna be?
Uh-oh. Okay, Boa's not sure what she's looking for.
She's, unless I missed it, she's still hoping that he'll answer. Whether he'll just go ahead and basically buy the meta tool
Oh,
from
just
her.
buy it off her.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, I guess so. can buy it off you if you're not gonna miss it. Nothing.
All right. She um, she starts to stick out her hand, then thinking better, she quickly spits in the hand and sticks it out to him.
Oh yeah, he'll spit and shake.
Pleasure doing business with you, Bo. Good luck out there.
Oh, well, thank you, Fang. Guess you my pickup once this is all said and done, or what's the plan?
Oh, she looks a little a little awkward. I guess he didn't tell you. No, it after is all on you. I've got other place to be, and unless he told you somebody else was lined up to pick you up, he just had me dropping you off.
Yeah, Talk was always sparse on the details that way. Well, I guess I can make my own way out of here.
Yeah, she gives him a little grimace. Yeah, sorry.
You're all good. Not you making the plan.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
it's true.
Try not to
Oh.
die.
Like I said, got places to be.
But it's above my pay grade.
Oh, nobody dies on Living New Da. Barely even die of old age around here. But yeah. So she will sheepishly hop back up in the vehicle and take off, leaving you with a decent number of people going about shopping, talking on their headsets or absorbed in whatever is on their visors. And let him pick out a good spot to post up and wait. All right, back to the rest of the party. Let's see. So, okay. All right. We have everybody sitting in the waiting room. Any last notes or questions before going to the meeting?
Zeke took the champagne
Sherry.
bottle.
Oh, go ahead.
Zeke took the champagne bottle. I don't know if there are consequences to that.
Would he
Nobody's
have been
batted an
trying to
eye.
hide it from Cherry, or would he have done that like openly?
Oh, he very openly would have done that.
How much of this has he imbibed?
I mean, it's just a bottle of champagne. He's probably fine, but he's enjoying it.
Have we established if Zeke is a heavyweight, or?
I mean, I feel like he's got a fair tolerance. A bottle of champagne, he's going to be feeling good if he drank the whole bottle, but I mean, he shared some with Cherry, and
I think Cherry would have been concerned about anyone being drunk at this meeting. So if he had done more than like 2 glasses of champagne, she would have very obviously winced and asked him to slow down until after, something along the lines of try not to celebrate until after this is done.
he would
Please.
insist it's fine.
She would groan, but she'd just say, as long as you keep your mouth shut, honestly, I don't care. If Cherry had not been very talkative by her standards, her normal standards, or by Eva's standards at all, during this ride, she would have at least said, guys, I have stretched my neck out in order to secure this meeting. So, like, please don't embarrass me in front of these people, or I will be forced to embarrass you in front of these people. Because I will disown any connection I have to you so fast. So, please be on your best behavior for this. But most importantly, whether or not you care about my standing, this directly affects TC3's ability to do what we've told him he can do, which is live here peaceably. And this also directly affects Miss Sarah McMuscles over there and her payment, which directly affects our payment. So please think about, ethically good decisions, and then also your wallet if maybe ethics don't do it for you.
Eva starts a corollary about how ethics and money don't really mix, but she cuts herself off real quick. But that's where she was going. It was clear that she was about to say something about ethics and financial gain. I think you're the best person. My mouth is shut.
Thank you.
Unless you need, like, my brilliant genius, of course.
Of course. Yeah, totally.
You might.
I didn't say I wouldn't.
Oh, well, right.
I was agreeing with you. I think you're a great help when it comes to sharing genius.
Of course. I am a genius. I'm so nervous. I'm a nervous genius.
Yes, that goes without saying. The two often go together.
No, I'm usually a very confident genius.
A firm trio of knocks arrives at the door, and then it is promptly flung open, and a tall older man, the very much no-nonsense expression on his face, sweeps into the room, followed by a couple of attendants. One of them practically glued to their comm pad, and also a stocky man who comes in and stands in the corner, his arms crossed in front of him, eyes darting between everyone in the room, and he looks around quickly, identifying Cherry, and but then eyes darting back between her and TC3 a couple of times. I guess Orion, as he's been introduced. And his expression becomes a bit long-suffering. And he says, Miss Cherry, it's good to see you again. It's been a while. I dearly hope that you aren't wasting my time with what seems very much like a standard bottom-of-the-line maintenance bot. And he slowly settles himself into a chair across the table from them, looking at her expectantly.
Well, she would look over at TC3 and say, do you have anything you'd like to say about that, TC3? Orion?
Not yet. He just
She'll
looks
nod.
at Jerry.
He'll say, that checks out. Well, we were hoping to be able to appeal to the council's open arms policy for VI and AI that they have always purported.
I see. Well, that's as may be. I suppose first order of business is to verify what you're claiming. Now, you're saying this is an AI you recovered from some abandoned place?
From a dig site, yes. We were
Yes.
assisting in an archaeological dig with Miss Sarah Lloyd here, who is well known for her archaeological digs. And she'll motion towards, she'll try and show him who Miss Lloyd is.
Okay. He nods at her. She nods back.
We were, well, our whereabouts are of a classified nature to most. But if it's all right with Miss Lloyd, I can divulge that.
Oh, don't worry. I don't think that's necessary. At least not yet. Let's start off with this. Well, can we inspect the AI? My apologies, but it just is a bit strange that it would be looking like this. No offense meant, of course, if that was your intention, but
She would, upon him saying that, she would, put her hands, she would motion as though like, oh, no offense taken kind of thing. And she would say, oh, no, that's no offense taken. In fact, it was quite helpful for him to be unassuming in that we had we faced some danger from an interested party who was turned down.
okay. Well, need to do some tests, of course. Just he gestures at the assistant that's not glued to their pad, and the girl takes out a data slab and connector and goes over to and asks Orion, "Can I plug into you?" And Orion says, "Of course, be my guest." And she plugs in and is tapping. Wow, you're running this thing hot. Well, she glances over at her boss and seems unsure about what to say at this point. And Orion reaches a hand up to put on her shoulder. It's okay, don't be shy. You may ask to see it. She blushes and says, no, I would never have. I wasn't. Please, it's all right.
Does he pull it out?
Whoa!
Just like, no worries, giant glowy rock. Here you go. Is this enough?
He does. He does a bit clumsily because this bot is not really a graceful contraption. Stands up from the chair and then its chassis kind of unfolds a little bit to reveal the little chamber that Eva had helped house its AI core in, and there it is, glowing and shining out for everyone to see. And they actually, everyone else in the room is mouth agape, staring at it. And Mr. Kester is now stammering. Of course, Orion, sir, I'm very sorry. You didn't need to do that. You can, but he's kind of like transfixed.
I think Pete has been looking kind of vaguely offended this whole time, even though he seems to be the only one. Because Cherry, and TC3 are both kind of like, whatever, this is normal. Like, just looks at the guy and goes, you realize you were acting like we were trying to scam you, and we brought you one of the few who still exist. I'm offended for him.
Well, I'm very sorry, Mr.
You can just call me Pete.
I'm very sorry, Pete. Of course, would not have intended to insult. It's, well, we get claims like this from time to time. I was entertaining it for Miss Cherry's sake, but well, frankly, they're just usually false alarms. But he's trying to collect himself, and he's averted his eyes from. He starts to glance back over, but then averts his eyes from Orion's core that he's showing. So, yes, of course, that is sufficient. Of course, allow me to make a quick call. Please wait just a moment. I need to step out and escalate this quickly. My apologies. And he fumbles at for his compad as he's quickly stepping out of the room. And the two assistants, one of them makes like she's gonna get up and follow him. The other, he just kind of pulls his eyes away from Orion's core and goes back to his compad and is even more frantically typing on it. It's a perfect one, Ethan.
Yep. 100%.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, just in about a minute, he
If
comes
there's a
back
moment.
in.
Yeah, let me.
Oh yeah, we got a minute.
Eva leans over to Cherry and, in an Eva whisper, "Is this going well?"
Cherry would have glanced at any of the assistants who are still in the room. Did any of them seem to have heard that, or are they all still tapping away on their devices?
Oh, they heard. The one who had been plugged into Orion, who very quickly unplugged once he was showing off his core. Glances over at Eva, but then just glances back and is looking at the core again. Was
I think
Eva
it is
acting
going well.
Oh.
Orion's willingness to share his proof definitely made things easier and faster for us.
Oh.
Yes, it seems that they have some taboo here that I didn't remember.
Well, I
Perhaps
know
it
that
changed over the
the
last.
chassis we've given you has definitely limited capabilities. I apologize for that.
That's all right. I can understand your limitations. You, considering what I've learned about your history since my recovery, I would not have expected you to have access to anything suitable for me. So yeah, if you're, does she just go for a selfie, or does she ask him, or what?
Oh, she would have asked him, since our paths might be diverging soon, could I get a picture with you?
Of course.
So hopefully you'll be in a form you like more than this at some point.
Yes, I certainly hope so soon. Should I, and one of his bulky hands gestures at the open compartment. Like he's asking,
What is he asking exactly?
Should he close it or leave it open?
She'll kind of softly laugh. She'll be like, "How about one of each?"
Yeah, he
You can
gives
tell
a
me which one you like more.
little dry laugh too. And I'll take the pictures and say, you can do whatever you like with both of them. This is a borrowed form.
Aw. I just realized this means you're leaving soon.
Well, we'll see. I would not count your chickens before they've been hatched.
Oh no,
Why
don't tell
would
me you've been listening to Bo.
you wouldn't count your chickens before they hatch? You count the
Bo.
eggs.
Yes, my point exactly. No, I don't make a habit of listening to Bo. I just saw your status, Ethan. Doing good things without my friends.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so shortly after the exchange between Orion and Eva, and he's closed his chest compartment, seeing that it made everyone else pretty uncomfortable. Mr. Castor comes back in the room, looking apologetic. Says, Orion, Miss Cherry, I apologize for having taken so much of your time already. Ms. Susan Starlight is unfortunately occupied with matters of state at the moment, but I can and have arranged for you to meet with someone else. Happen to be available and would like to see you immediately. If that is acceptable, that is.
Might I ask who that would be?
Yes, Nikki Nebula.
Um, do you have any idea of how soon Miss Starlight may be available?
I'm very sorry, I don't. I was told she's out of pocket for the foreseeable future today, and Ms. Nebula was insistent.
Of course, it's simply that Orion here has personally met Miss Starlight in the past and had been hoping to see her once more.
Well, I'm sure that he, and he looks and bows slightly in his direction, can reach out and schedule a meeting whenever she's available. But regarding your more immediate need, I think it's best that we go right now.
Yes, of course.
We shouldn't keep him waiting in such a state. And
Of
he
course.
glances in.
And she'll look at Orion and sheepishly she'll apologize.
It is all right. I understand that these things take time. This form does wear thin on me. I appreciate your urgency, Master Castor. Oh, you can just you know he kind of clears his throat. You don't have to tell me that. Just Khalil is fine. Ryan, but sir, and he kind of falls over himself, holding the door open for everyone to come on out. And yeah, he's got there's a couple more people who'd been, it seemed like they must have just been passing by, have paused and seem to have picked up on the tone of what's going on, and may have even overheard some things. A few people snapped some shots, and one person starts to step up and thinks those are gonna take a selfie, and Mr. Castor impatiently snaps, "Yes, yes, quick and be on about it." And the person in just a second quickly snaps a selfie, something that looks like they've done thousands of times, and hurries on. It's out of the dodge before Mr. Castor's big bodyguard guy steps over and motions for everybody to clear out, and starts fussing at him to get along. And the group of you are hustling or have to hustle a little bit to keep up with Khalil Castor as he speed walks down the hall and says, we're going to go. She is going to meet us in one of her sitting rooms as soon as we can make it there. So we'll be, yes, everyone on our best behavior, of course. and is then just rattling off. It seems like he's just, vomiting of the mouth. Can't stop. He's talking about little details of the meeting and who should speak first, and don't look directly in any of the cameras around her if you can help it. They don't really like that, and want everything to be candid. Be respectful to her. Though he does allow that she isn't quite as much a stickler for some of those rules as the others of the council. But yeah, he's clearly extremely anxious about the directions he's taken.
Cherry would actually interject and ask, do you have any other well, she would look over at Orion using Carrie's chassis. Do you happen to have any other form that he might be able to use before meeting with her?
Oh yes, of course. But now yes, there will be a selection. There's no need. Well, I suppose you could do that before meeting her. That would be fine too. She did approve. He's checking his compad as he's doing this, and seems to also be processing things from his visor too. And, yes, perfect, of course. Well, yeah, I do. There should be time. If you would like to change before meeting her, that's quite acceptable. Of course.
She would reach a hand over to TC3 as they're speed walking, basically, and just say, would you prefer that? To have a better chassis?
Yes, please. That would be my preference. And yeah, so Mr. Castor will he'll whip out his compad and make a quick call. Not quite shouting, but raised voice at the person on the other side. Yes, and be quick about it. Nikki Nebula wants it done immediately. Yes, all of them. No, I don't care. Just get it done.
Oh my. Perry internally winces at whatever intern got yelled at.
He turns and walks backward for a few moments, managing not to lose his pace or direction at all, and gives a very apologetic smile at everyone. Very sorry. We're scrambling a bit. As I said before, this is not an everyday thing for us, so do please bear with me and come right this way. And about that time, walking you out past another checkpoint and onto a moving sidewalk sort of thing that is on a very thin and narrow bridge that spans the gap between a couple of the towers and overlooks a significant and dizzying drop. And he doesn't bat an eye. Just
Perry, by the way, has been using her palm drone. I don't know if that was like basically since they got back on Lohainu-Da, but especially since they got out of the limo.
Okay. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that, yeah, that would have been fine, and you would have seen a fair number of those around as well. It looks like, well, and Cherry would know this from her time before. The etiquette is to keep it quite close, basically practically on your shoulder, unless you're
Mm-hmm.
actively using
Yeah.
it, just to keep from causing trouble or getting in people's way. But yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
common for them to buzz around, and they're very well suited to dodging people and not getting in the way, being able to film whatever it is they need to film or snap whatever shots they need.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, nobody would have been concerned about that. Yeah, the once you arrive, allowing the sidewalk to carry you across this gap, overlooking, looking down and seeing, at multiple different levels, some grav cars going past, and people walking on balconies, and some transparent bridges and things. It makes it look incredibly dense to be seeing all those layers down from above. But on the other side, there's a small but pretty glamorous grav car that is ready to. It's got doors open and a driver waiting to welcome you all. Yes, good man, good man. Yes, we have this all for you to take you to the top. No need to wade through a sea of attendants and wait on the lift. We'll get you up there in no time. Shall we? And gestures. And it's it's almost situated. It looks kind of like a gondola, but it's just larger enough that there's comfortable room for everybody. And
And this is to go get a new chassis.
Yeah, this is to take you up to the top of the tower, and that's apparently where he's going to be fitted for a new chassis, and then you'll be
Meet Miss
you'll
Nikki.
be right around the corner from Nikki Nebula's one of her sitting rooms. So let's see. Yeah, we'll stick with this for the moment. Let's see. Actually, let's just very briefly cut back to Bo and his shenanigans. Oh, I forgot to respond to this. All right, and excuse me. Blah blah blah. So we were cutting back to Bo real quick, and I think going to need a couple skill checks from him.
Okay.
Depending on how he intended to acquire his disguise, probably either a connect skill check or maybe a sneak.
Yeah, I was thinking he's probably grabbing it. He's not a social person.
Fair. All right. Get that sneak check from him.
With Dex. Or...
Yeah, Dex would be good.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, he can mosey around. He finds and he finds the crew that's setting up some of the sound equipment, and manages to snag an extra vest. And yeah, especially once a couple of media crews show up and some reporters start filing in, and some of their attendance, the place is getting a little bit more crowded. It's easier to find distracted moments and slip in. Yeah, let's see then. Then let's do so. He wants to mess with the stage. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a fix check.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Manages to make it over, looking like he's doing something, adjusting cables, making sure they're securely not a tripping hazard.
6 with Dex.
No, intelligence.
Sad.
Okay,
Well,
very
I mean,
nice.
it's sponsored by the number 9.
You're in luck. Yes. Skating on by, Bo manages to just adjust something enough that it will in fact become a tripping hazard. It was intended not to be. And then he'll be able to mosey along without getting himself in trouble. And then for his big moment, the last and most potentially consequential one. Let's see. Trying to think. This could be I believe it, either yeah, if he's trying to do as you messaged me, I think a talk check, which isn't going to be a difficult one, but
Oh no.
or you could take a couple points higher DC and try it with like a punch skill check, just to if you don't want to actually try mingling with him, just see if you can manage to.
I guess he will try the mingling. Man. If I had something to boost my talk, he had less.
That's okay.
Wow.
All right.
There we go.
The dice are in his corner tonight.
So yeah, he'll approach like he's checking if he's properly mic'd up, even if there was not going to be any mic, and be like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's actually perfect, because he looks confused for a moment before and points at the podium, which is it's subtle, but there is a little microphone built into that podium, but Bo is able to laugh it off and make a self-deprecating joke, and
Yeah, right you are, sir. Mondays, am I right?
and the man, he is he is fairly elderly, though. He's as far as Bo's concerned, seems more kind of collected and graceful and even just aware than you would expect someone who looks that old to be. Um, but the the man says, "Yeah, of course, that's no problem. But I say, how do I look?" And he kind of uh, poses a little bit, a couple ways, and adjusts his suit jacket, turns his back, everything in place.
Say, yeah, looking pretty good. Might just need to make a couple adjustments down. Looks like your shirt tail came untucked, and he'll take that opportunity to just kind of adjust. And as he's going, like mess up a seam or like the center seam on his suit pants. Just like take the meta tool and use, say, it's the closest thing to a seam ripper on there.
Nice. Alrighty.
Bless it.
Okay. And he manages this without having attracted any undue attention. And so, in short order, we have the director society's talking with someone who seems perhaps a coworker, and they're running over a couple of talking points. He's checking that the teleprompters are working as they should. Got everything queued up right. And we'll cut back to the other group real quick. All right, so the gondola car is able to ascend at a smooth but speedy pace, but good bit quicker than an elevator. And so you're passing dozens of stories, and the people that are busy within. And once you get close to the top, looks like about the top 10 stories, it makes an abrupt change, and the rooms you glance into are, for the most part, much larger, much more lavishly decorated, um, more sparsely populated, and seem to be all part of one continuous set of suites. I'm trying to think what that. There's a term for those when it's like an entire floor of like a condo tower. Oh shoot!
Penthouse.
Thank you. It looks like basically like a giant multi-story penthouse kind of setup. And couple you as the gondola comes to rest, the last floor you ascend past seems to be some kind of party going on, and a lot of people hanging around and socializing. Lots of pictures. They've even got like a miniature, like one of those picture walls where people are posing together, and it's like set up like it's some kind of small awards event or something. But lots of elbow rubbing going on.
Question:
But,
This is
Hmm.
to get him a new chassis?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Just
floor you
making sure.
were
We are not
dropped
skipping
off on. No, you're not skipping that.
I also
Um,
want to note before I forget. I'll ask when we get to it. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah. So you're led towards a set of doors and a couple large robotic guards flanking the door. One of them holds it open and just looks all of you over as you pass through. But there's a there's a faintly cool mist that passes over all of you as you come through the doorway. It's very sweet smelling and gives you all a little pep to your step.
Mm.
And
Oh no.
even Pete is feeling.
We've been drugged. No.
Pete feels like his joints move a little more smoothly as they enter the penthouse, and you're in a broad hallway, and the long set of the windows to your left here had been blacked out, and take you through a door, and there are several people bustling in and out of the door as you come in, and you can see they're wheeling a couple stands into place right as you enter, and all of them breathing heavily. And one guy in particular wiping sweat off his brow and glances over and gives a deep bow to Mr. Castor. Mr. Castor, I hope it's suitable. I have 3 more on their way up. Had to grab a couple other workers, and they'll be up very soon. Very sorry for the delay. And says, no, this should be fine. And a light, and someone flips a switch, and you can see you're in this large room that looks like it is. It's basically like an apartment-sized wardrobe, and there are, rows and rows of like clothing racks and standing wardrobe type things that are that some of which have been slid back further to the wall. It seems all very modular. And in a long row, there is a series of various robotic chassis, and there are a few that kind of give you a double take. Look like people standing on these stands with their eyes closed.
That's terrifying.
The fact that they're almost completely naked, and several of them have kind of unusual, hair color, or one of them even has an extra eye in the forehead. Does seem a little odd, but and Mr. Kester turns to Orion and says, "Orion, sir, your selection is here, and we have assistance if you would like, unless you would prefer that your companions here helped you." And Orion responds, "Thank you, Khalil. I do believe my friends will be sufficient help for me. You may wait outside for me." And he bows in acknowledgement to Orion and shoos everyone out quickly. And, then shuts the door behind him.
But this would be a good point to say what I want for Eva here.
Okay.
I don't think that she is deliberately looking for any kind of sabotage or trap or anything, but I would like to, especially now that we're actually assisting with this. I thought she was just gonna be looking at them from a distance, but especially now that we're actually assisting with this, would I be able to have her try and make some kind of check to see if uh she would find any kind of uh unfriendly limitations or diversions? Like and
You're talking
I'm
about
shooting
like
myself
in
in
the
the foot here
chassis?
because I don't think that she's suspicious unless somebody else tells her to check for it.
It
I
could
was gonna
also
say,
be
is she?
rhetorical.
Oh,
Is
okay.
there a consequence to taking this suit? Like question.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I think.
I guess that's more a question for. I don't want to take away from what you were trying to accomplish, Dex. Just throwing out another option there.
Yeah. I was just thinking for a second. I think that would kind of need to be specific to a particular one. Like, what happens if I help Orion move his core into this armature?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so yeah, for Eva, is she going in like what is she just looking them over? Is she doing some sort of
I think
trying to examine them with her tools or
it's going to depend on how much assistance Orion actually wants or needs from us.
okay.
If there's anything in there about excuse me, if he does ask us to help him make the transition, then absolutely she's digging in. She's inspecting the hardware to make sure it's compatible with this port and this plug. Make sure that nothing gets fried on Carrie's board and that nothing is lost in the transmission from one to the other. So at that point, yeah, if she's helping with that, I think I would hope something like that would come up naturally
Okay.
as she digs farther than she's been asked to because Eva.
Okay. Yeah, so for starters, Orion is just going to be walking Carrie's body across the room, going down the line, looking at these various ones. And yeah, it at first seems like he's mostly just looking at them for excuse me. um, assessing them for their like aesthetic properties. Isn't necessarily I guess too concerned with doesn't ask for help poking around on the technical side yet. But yeah, if you follow along and look, there are a couple at first there are a few that are fairly stylized robotic chassis, but they're familiar enough. But then there are several that are very unusual looking to Eva and frankly to everyone else, and that they have some very sleek design, seem like they're almost too bare bones in a couple cases. And just give off a very clear aura of pre-tech, and just the vastly different baseline kind of capability and design, and far fewer limitations in terms of the how much joints needed to be reinforced, and seems like there's less hardware and machinery to cover up with the decorative plating in some of these cases. And one of them, a couple of them seem a little bit blockier and almost more utilitarian in design, though still, especially in Eva's eyes, elegant. But yeah, then there's and there's one that basically looks like a looks like a large disc with some styling around the edges, and various little jets, but it's looks like it's basically a giant disc. And Orion stops, looks at it curiously briefly, but then passes it on it as well.
Hey, Ben.
Yes.
Could Cherry use any of her knowledge of Lohenu Daw's fashion fads or general sense of what is considered classy or whatever, to make some suggestions or narrow it down for him?
She
Even
could,
if
yeah.
it's like,
I was gonna say, it's probably fairly obvious to you, even as a player, but yeah, like the bulkier ones, the little flying disc shape, those are very pretty much definitely no-goes unless he is just specifically attached to that. And while you're looking, people do arrive at the door, and after knocking and making sure they can come in, they bring in 3 more that are they're other just variations of these pre-tech styled ones that are just they're all still humanoid in shape, and just have different color patterns and designs. A couple of them have like extra sets of arms that are folded in, but yeah, so you would know. So the AI Council, you would have seen, you would have seen Nikki Nebula, at least. You would have seen her before, looking basically human, and would have known, it's well known in the city that she frequently prefers what they kind of colloquially call an organic shell. But the other two really don't tend to prefer that. And you've never seen them in a, strictly speaking, just like human looking body. So seeing multiple of these apparent chassis that are, organic, and you can touch them. It feels like skin, and uh, they even they even apparently have heartbeats.
Nope, don't
is a
like that.
bit unnerving.
She's incredibly relieved in that moment that she insisted Bo not come. She can only imagine the things he would be saying about these chassis.
Eva, on the other hand, is looking between them and Pete.
Mm-hmm.
He is intentionally not looking at Eva right now. He can sense her gaze.
Yeah.
He already talked with TC3 about finding things out. He's not going to push his luck yet.
Yeah, and Pete, because Pete would know that I guess just that. I guess I'll think for just a moment. I feel like he would definitely know that it is possible for a VI to be transferred to a different, you know, chassis, but it is pretty difficult and not typically done. Yeah, it's it's almost always more cosmetic changes and a lot of swapping out parts. But
You are mistaken, GM. Pete is not a VI, he's human.
That is true. However, he is in a VI body at the moment.
Yes, and we don't know any quirks of that VI body due to our lack of pre-tech.
It's true, and yeah, you guys haven't done any sort of cutting edge experimentation or anything on that, but yeah, the generally understood rule is that VIs cannot really be. I might have been kind of misspeaking about it. They can't really be changed into a completely different, chassis like the AI cores can be, but they, they have to be part swapped, a few things at a time to maintain their, their attachment to their hardware. It's kind of like you can't just plug and play the hard drive on a VI like you can with a AI, basically. Anyway, I digress slightly. But let's see. Yeah, there are a lot of options. I guess as far as Cherry would think, she does know that it is kind of popular in it's popular in Loinuda to, I guess, kind of flaunt individuality. But as far as the AIs are concerned, I mean, the typical rules of like social style and whatever don't necessarily apply to them because the AIs are the ruling council here. There have really not been, there aren't like other AIs that live on the planet that aren't the ruling council. So they just kind of get to look like whatever they want.
All right. Well, will she see anything that makes her think of the world that they found him on?
Mm. Okay. All right. So yeah, let me see here. I think one of these may, in fact, um, yeah. Let's see. There is. Hmm. Yeah, there is one that I think would strike her. It is it's one that it is probably one of the more well, it's the only one that looks like it of the whole selection for one. Um, but it is very similar to to some of the other human looking ones, but more uh, it has more standout features. It does have an extra set of arms that seem to are currently, just passively folded
Folded.
behind its back. Um, and it um, it has it's as the others are, look like humans in good condition. This one is like next level peak condition, but it also has very obvious kind of mechanical augments uh, peeking through in a few places. So it's like it's made to look like a person who is clearly been augmented with pre-tech hardware to be superior. It's the tallest of all the human looking ones,
Mm-hmm.
probably clocks in at about 7 feet, and notices that it has a couple extra eyes. It has smaller ones that are sort of to the peripheral of almost in the temples, and has the feet almost resemble primate feet in that they look like
Oh
they're
no.
flexible.
Nope. Nope. You lost me at monkey feet.
Oh no. Sorry, I was not. If I had been thinking, I would have known to expect that kind of reaction.
Yeah. She
Oh.
would grimace when she looked down a- and just make it a point to not look down again and ask, um, so Orion, are there like features you were specifically hoping to have, like extra arms?
Hmm. You do catch. He was looking at the that one particular. This one is an intriguing combination of human form and superiority of the machine.
Well, mostly. She'll glance down.
I do miss being tall.
She glances over at him and smiles. And then and says, "Well, why not give it a go?"
So yeah, he glances for just a moment at another one that was more of a just a straight up robotic shell, but yes, I do think that having a mostly human appearance would be perhaps comforting to some. And he steps up and the goes ahead and asks for help. And the process is actually incredibly simple this time. There was a lot of work before to try to make sure that the core had good contact with the various little hookups and things that needed to be, it needed to interface with so that it could operate this, basically primitive robot body. But the shell in front of you, there's a place in the basically at the middle base of the rib cage, and there's he seems to already no, he guesses just on the second try the places to press, and the the skin parts, and the opens just a bit, and there's a space that is it looks it looks smooth and almost flexible. Um, it's a little bit squishy to the touch, almost. Uh,
Nope. Just move on.
sorry. And he tells you all you're going to need to do is remove the core from Carrie's body. Make sure to shut everything down properly and disconnect the things in the right order. Blah blah blah. But then you just press the core into that space, and he'll be able to do the rest.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so yeah, we'll the little chest cavity closes around the core as you pull your hand away, and the after a few moments, the eyes open, all four of them, and blink for a moment. And they have red irises at first. For a couple of blinks, they settle into a soft purple. And he turns his head, looks down at all of you, and clears his throat. Ah, it's good to be in a real body again.
You're
And
so tall.
yes, I am. As it should be. And he stretches and basically does like a bodybuilder pose with his hands clasped over his head, and his second set of arms come out and kind of like lock fingers and stretch straight out, and shift around a little bit, and twists and bends, touches toes and everything, and just gives a huge sigh of relief.
You mean his bends to touch his fingers?
Yeah, it's his little
Like
monkey
you do,
does.
like you do.
As one does.
And says, "All right, well, I think I'm sold. Let's find me some clothes and meet this Nikki Nebula."
Clothes would be great.
What are you? Oh my God. Oh.
He does have say
I
there's
figured
like
he
a
has like fig leaves or a little bit more, but
Yeah.
he's
Fig
Big
covered.
leaves, LOL.
It's not far above a banana hammock, so
Oh, my
Yes,
word.
Eva has still turned red and looked away.
yeah. All right. Well,
And it's also apparently the first time she noticed all of that.
well, let's see. I haven't managed my time as well as I'd hoped tonight. Maybe I got a little caught up in some of the descriptions and the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
But
I don't
Nick-
know if it was the
Mhm.
scenery, but yeah. Continue.
yeah, monkey to the side. I think next time we'll pick up with we'll start off with the maybe the meeting and we'll get the scene narrated for what Bo is up to, and we'll get the party reunited again. But yeah, for now, let's dish out the XP and get our fades going. Robert, what about you?
I think my fave would probably be the welcoming committee absolutely freaking out because TC3 showed off his core.
So yeah, that was a fun moment.
Kind of a he's naked kind of a moment.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is not something they do here, apparently. And so yeah, whoopsie, I'm fat fingering here. Well, I know you, Robert, you had said you needed to skedaddle, and I'm sorry for running a bit late, but
Hey, we came really close, so I appreciate that.
we did.
Efforts were made.
Yep.
Efforts were made, mistakes were made, all of the above.
But not by me.
Yeah. Let's see. So, let's see. Dex, I think, be up.
No, I don't make a habit out of listening to Bo.
that that was a softball. That was just.
It's still got me, okay?
Yeah, it was great. I was practically giddy when somebody said something about that. I was like, oh man, that's like just teed up nicely. So thank you for whoever. I forget who set that up, but
It was me.
I was gonna say, I thought it was Danielle,
It was
yeah.
like, don't count your chickens before they hatch. And she
Mhm.
grimaced and was like, don't tell me you've been listening to Bo.
Yes. All right, so that
Yeah.
entire bit with the chickens and the bow, the chicken and the bow parable.
The chicken and the bow can be the title of this.
All right, sounds good to me.
That's a solid one. Ethan, what about you?
I guess our TC3 picking out his new body. That's kind of a weird and fun scene. Being able to body up like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and the selection. I had some fun coming up with a couple as well, as you can see, a little too much fun
Mm-hmm.
in my case. Um, Avery, what about you?
Yeah, I'm also for taking TC3 to the body shop.
That's
You just
that
did
is a
that.
great play on words. That's a good one. Oh yeah,
Or Orion, I guess.
yeah, same. Trying out a new name.
It doesn't ring as well. Sorry.
Yeah, I was actually going to say for my favorite moment, I think Cherry dropping TC3's new name. Um, I guess during introductions was a fun moment, I thought. Um, but yeah, then oh, let me think here. Um, yeah, I think that's the main one. There were a couple other things that I was banding about, but um, oh. um, I'm trying to think how to even phrase it, but when Cherry asked TC3, uh, I forget exactly what words she used, but it was something along the lines of, do you want to say anything to, like stick up for yourself or to, to convince the man? And he was like, no, not yet. Because I wanted him to. I felt like the first pass was going to be I'm gonna sit back and see how you handle this. I guess, yeah, maybe TC3 um, content to watch, the- or I'll just say content to listen. Um, that was, I don't know, it's been fun trying to figure out like the psychology of this AI and how he would act in various situations and how he would be perceiving this whole situation and the way that you guys are, trying to come and, present him as, rescued, but also be asking kind of a reward for having rescued him and bringing him to the AI council and all that stuff. And I, I had kind of settled on feeling like, yeah, I think he's in a lot of situations, he's going to be, especially in the initial part, just content to take a back seat and see, okay, how is this how are they presenting this? Because hey, they got me this far, and I think it kind of being like yeah, I'm kind of in their hands for the time being, and let's see if they can deliver on what they said they could. So also just being new to this place, effectively, since the last time he had interacted with anybody here was a very long time ago. He's already figured out how much everything else has changed. Kind of a biding his time. Anyway,
Alright, well, that's the faves as they stand. I'm ready to post them.
You
Oh,
didn't ask me my fave.
yeah, no, sorry, I hadn't got to
Oh,
Danielle yet. I was waxing the
what's
elephant.
that?
How rude.
I have.
Yeah, Danielle, what was your favorite? Sorry, I got blabbing about mine.
My favorite was actually Pete. It was a Pete moment. It was when Pete was like, "How dare you treat us like we're swindlers?" And it honestly made it really cool to see, because it felt like, how do I put this? Like, he was standing up for their crew, but he was definitely also standing up for TC3 and for Cherry on that, because it was very much like he knew Cherry and he was coming in really expecting not much, I guess.
Mm.
And that was pretty offensive to Cherry, or she was at least embarrassed at the insinuation she was just going to be wasting his time, even though she knew she wasn't. So I think Pete speaking up and saying "how dare you" and everything, especially in this setting where he's seen as an equal, was really neat, because like there are other planets where that could have happened, where they would have been like, excuse you, but here it was perfectly delivered and received. So
Mm.
good job.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun moment because, I wasn't sure how various characters would react to that implication that, oh yeah, you guys were probably just pulling her leg, or just trying to fish for a reward, or got confused about what you had, whatever. They've heard it all before, and then it turning out to be the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I think that's everybody then.
Now I'm ready to post.
All right.
Alright, and if there's nothing else to add on stream, I'll go ahead and close it.
Yeah, I think we're good.
For it.